This video is by Straight Goods News. SGNews.ca.
Listen, politicians are famous for ignoring polls or saying we ignore polls. I'm actually doing a pretty good job of ignoring them. There are going to be an awful lot of polls between now and the leadership in April. There are going to be an awful lot more between now and 2015. However, what I am seeing on the ground is a lot of people are interested and excited, not so much in me, but the way I'm bringing things forward and the kinds of conversations I'm trying to have and my attitude towards politics. And if people are responding well, pretty much wherever I go across the country, I think it's really because there's a hunger for politics to be done differently, less divisive, more inclusive. Do I think it's possible? I think obviously it's possible because it happens.
What would your approach be?
I think the problem that we're facing right now in politics is people are getting tremendously cynical because they've seen that politics has been about picking the region that's willing to support you, putting X over regions that don't support you. Mr. Harper's put an X over Quebec, Mr. Mulcair's put an X over Alberta. I think people are hungry for someone who's going to say the same thing in a church basement in Chicoutimi as they're going to say in an office tower in downtown Calgary. And I think that's something that people are open to. It's certainly not the strategic politics of Kyle Rove that both main parties in this House are seeming to do. But everywhere I go, people are responding very well to the idea that there has to be someone who's speaking up for all of Canada and willing to take decisions that are in the best interest of the country as a whole. I think it's an interesting question. It's one that I certainly reflect on personally as I look at what happened to my old home, 24 Sussex, which is slowly crumbling around its present occupants, but because of a political climate that is saying that, oh no, we can't spend on certain things except we're willing to add 30 more MPs that nobody wants to the House of Commons. There's a lack of priorities that we're seeing in Ottawa. But for me, preserving our history, preserving our institutions, both physical and democratic, is a priority for me. I just certainly hope that there is proper oversight and there's proper transparency on the work being done and on how the expenses are.
Are you saying that BC and Ontario and Alberta don't want more MPs?
I'm saying that there was a way that Mr. Dion put forward that shows the exact same proportions that we would have had in the House of Commons that they have, adding 30 more MPs without adding a single seat to the House of Commons. It required a little bit of political courage, but there isn't anyone out there who's begging for more members of Parliament to represent them. All they want is to make sure that the percentage of people in the House that represent their region is responsible and respectable. And that was the plan that Mr. Dion put forward that I'm very proud of, at 308 seats that I recommend people look at, and because it leaves BC, Alberta and Ontario extremely well off, just like they would be with 30 more seats that we don't need.